When I first started thinking something was wrong, I was also in denial. I had decided that I would not have postpartum depression. And so I was ignoring a lot of the symptoms. And it all came to a head actually on a Friday morning. And I was trying to feed my son. And I physically rejected him. I started to get sick to my stomach and gagging and couldn't actually hold the baby anymore. And I think if I had looked back, I would have recognized that I had symptoms, but because I was so determined not to get depressed and have postpartum depression, I ignored them until I actually had a physical response to it.
Postpartum depression is one of a group of what we call perinatal mood disorders. It's the most commonly used term for a mood disorder that happens after a baby's born. Many more women will experience baby blues in the first 3 to 5 days after the baby's born. It's very common. 80% of women will experience a down period where they're tearful for no reason, where they're very, very overwhelmed, where they feel like they just can't manage. And that usually lifts in a day or two. We think that's largely hormonal, physiological, has to do with the gigantic shifts that have happened in the body. So that's pretty common. It's unpleasant, but it's not persistent and long-lasting. When those feelings persist and last for a longer period of time, then we start to be concerned. If it's lasted for 2 weeks or more, we start to be concerned about postpartum depression. Often it will manifest as a high level of irritability. Irritability and anger that are uncharacteristic. Changes in appetite or sleep that are quite dramatic, and those can be either sleeping all the time or not being able to sleep at all, or eating a whole lot more than usual, or not being able to eat at all. So in either direction. The emotional parts of postpartum depression, often there's a lot of sadness, tearfulness, feelings of guilt and worthlessness, thoughts that are persistent around you know, why am I feeling this way and what's wrong with me. Really important in noticing this is a lack of interest in things that used to be interesting and lack of motivation. So an inability to really muster any energy to do things that used to be fun. And in postpartum depression, we also often see a lack of interest in the baby.
She was, I guess, you know, showing signs where she didn't want to spend as much time with the baby and was kind of passing him off as quickly as she could, kind of thing. Whenever I got home, you know, I immediately kind of took over with the baby duties and stuff around the house and that kind of thing. Just tried to allow Ainsley the opportunity to rest as much as she could, communicating with her as much as I could, you know, talking to her. And
I was determined to have, I guess what you would say, the perfect pregnancy and the perfect baby and the perfect postpartum.
We know that postpartum depression can happen to anyone. If you get postpartum depression, you're not to blame. We also know that there are certain risk factors, and one of the risk factors is a previous diagnosis of depression or anxiety or another mood disorder. Women who have had depression in the past are a bit more at risk for postpartum depression and should be aware of that as a possibility. We also know that women who have poor social support, who, by that I mean they don't have good connections with family, or they don't have good relationship with a partner, that they don't have people to count on in their lives, they're more at risk for postpartum depression as well. Extraordinarily challenging situations at the time of the pregnancy and birth, they are more at risk. Traumatic birth can put a woman more at risk. A woman whose baby is ill might be more at risk. Those are situational factors that certainly can play a part.
Postpartum depression occurs across all cultures. In my experience as a community health nurse in the First Nation communities, I have found that women who suffer postpartum depression live in silence. They are more reserved. They don't like to talk about their feelings If a woman seeks help, they will seek help within the family first, then they will go outside. They try to think of ways to cope without involvement of the healthcare professionals. I have learned throughout the years that it is important to ask the right questions. Families and community members need to be sensitive to cultural beliefs and values and need to recognize what to look for when providing support to the new moms.
The first line of support for a family, for a woman in a family, is her larger family. If she's got family support, then that's hugely helpful, and in fact can often really make a difference for a woman. A mom or an aunt, a sister, someone who loves her and cares about her and can be non-judgmental about what she's experiencing could be really, really helpful. It's very, very important to be straightforward with the family doctor about what's going on. And sometimes women are so caught up in the guilt and the shame and the worry that they can't bring themselves to call the doctor and say, boy, this is what I'm experiencing. But sometimes family help to do that can make it happen. So a husband or partner or a mom could say, I'll come with you to the doctor. And if it's too hard for you to say what's going on, maybe I can help. I can help you tell the doctor what's been going on for you.
My husband decided that we should seek help. I really just wanted to go in and talk to him, and he insisted that we call mental health.
The best advice I can give is, just watch what's going on. I think if you're a dad that's really involved with your child, I think you'll pick those things up. If you notice your wife, is not coping as well as you'd hope, definitely kind of watch those signs. Start doing research right away if you suspect something. Understanding what she's going through, is really a big part of it.
Women should not be ashamed of postpartum depression. They should speak out. Your doctor or healthcare provider need to hear your concerns and feelings in order to address this important issue. Women will recover from postpartum depression if they get help. There are a number of therapeutic options available, including medication, psychotherapy, or a combination of both. Family and community support are also a necessary part of the recovery process. My message to new mothers is, speak up when you're down. You're not alone. You being a healthy mom is the best thing you can do for your child.
It's really important to remember that postpartum depression is common and it's underdiagnosed. We just don't see it, and it's right in front of our eyes. Part of the reason for that is because there's so much shame attached to it. What we can do, though, as professionals and as family members, is we can listen very closely and we can observe. So if a mom says, yeah, this is a little harder than I thought it was going to be, she probably means, this is so much worse than I ever anticipated and I really need some help. So she's going to minimize. We have to watch and pay attention to that.
Seek help. If you think you're feeling bad and you're not sure why, the best thing is to seek help, because it might just be the baby blues. But if it is postpartum depression, you can get the help. New Brunswick has the help for us. And you might be a mom who just needs counseling or just needs to hang out with other moms, or you might have to have medication. But do that for yourself and for your child, because as they say, a happy mom is a happy child. And so really, don't go through it alone. There's so many great resources out there, and so get the help you need, and then you'll start feeling like I'm feeling. Now, it's not easy and it's still not Hollywood, but it's pretty wonderful.